Jason Blackwell, Houston. There's a parent company and at least 4 whales in this MMTLP play. Why does the burden of litigation fall on the shoulders of a young lady in Florida working on her own dime? Uh, the whales might be doing their own thing. I have no idea what they're doing. The parent company and the issuers, they are in a weird legal limbo where they may not be able to participate in a suit like that. I think that's a lot of what Berta has been discussing with his lawyer is as an issuer of these securities, what ability does he have to sue? It might be contingent upon investors and not these insiders to do the suing. That was kind of what Rosa was saying in her first interview with Uncle Smokey. And so Berto seems to be producing all sorts of information for her to use, but he might not be in this in the same position we are as investors to claim damages like we're claiming. So that might be a big reason for it. I'm sure that they will gladly participate and hand over anything if you need to subpoena anything and testify and stuff like that. But I don't know what capacity they can bring suit of their own. The whales, on the other hand, the whales can definitely sue. They can prove a lot more harm done than we can with our piddly little investments because they got millions of shares. I mean, two of those guys between them have like 31 or 32 million shares. They should be billionaires, like multi-billion, like trillionaires. Who knows? Uh, if trading's allowed to happen again. We love you, Houston. We love Rosa more. Give Rosa all the love, man. She is battling. I've had some great chats with her. She's a very smart gal, and she doesn't really suffer fools. So you know, if you're gonna be a fool and bother her, don't. Just leave her alone. Let her do her thing. If you're not being supportive and you're not being helpful, just step aside and let her do her thing. Okay. B-ball, worst case scenario, how could this settlement play out? Worst case scenario is they push all the stuff off in the obligations warehouse. We lose steam, no one pays attention to us, and it just sits out there into like the nothingness land. And they manage to torpedo any deal for the land in Texas, and we never get paid even with payment in lieu. That's the worst case scenario. So I think we can avoid that worst case scenario just by being really loud and really annoying forever. It probably helps us that Christmas and New Year's fall on a weekend this year. So there's no like weird holidays in the middle of the work week that act like speed bumps slowing us down. It's just a normal weekend. We have Christmas, we got New Year's, Monday morning, back to work again. So I think that helps us. It's serendipitous that it worked out that way. So we can have these normal work weeks. And you know, so we're going there. The Hain Train Express, if the TRO goes through for trading to start, that doesn't matter the fact the chill is on, does it? Two separate entities, correct? Two separate entities. A chill means the stock should still be tradable, though. It just there's certain things that aren't available to it. In this case, it's probably you can't register. But allowing the stock to trade, which means they got to go in the computer and they either have to like type in and put the old QSIP back, and everyone who has NextBridge shares suddenly has a QSIP for those 2 days, so they also can close. Because remember, the closing happens in one of two ways: either they buy a legit share and replace a synthetic with that share, bloop, synthetic's gone, or they buy the synthetic and delete it from existence. So either way, they should be able to buy either one. The thing is they've got to buy very likely hundreds and hundreds of millions of them over 2 days. Alan and I were talking, and he's saying that it's likely that they'll look at limit orders and say, okay, the bulk of these limit orders are below $4,000. We will close out any position up to $4,000 a share. Anything more than that, they're just being unreasonable. And it's like a negotiated settlement. And we'll deal with that later. so that could be an outcome. Uh, but the best outcome for us as individual investors is the injunction and TRO basically says, you know, let's say it makes I have no idea if he did a ruling today or if it does a ruling tomorrow. Let's say it does a ruling tomorrow, and he says, okay, you guys have the weekend. I know it's Christmas holiday, but by Tuesday and Wednesday, this thing is trading again, and you brokers must ensure that every short position is closed out, no matter the cost. This is your bed. You made it. Lie in it. That's the best outcome we could possibly have, because that is, you could just set your limit order to whatever price you feel like, and the trading computer is going to have to buy it. This is like right back to that original interview I did with the Gist with Josh Hamilton. Like, set the limit order, and if it's the only stock available at that time, the trading computer has an order to gobble up absolutely everything. You can sell a share for ridiculous amounts of money. So they'll have to figure it out, and then they'll complain. They'll say, "But Your Honor, it's so hard." And he'll be like, "Well, you changed it once already in a day, so why can't you change it back? Just do it, or else you're in contempt and blah blah blah. We're gonna make it so it's one trading day, and then you got to do 300 million shares in a day, something. I don't know." So, uh, uh, that's where we are, and since there's multiple entities named, the judge can make rulings for all those entities. Okay. Guitar Stuff, I don't have any MMTLP. I'm rooting for you. Thank you, Guitar Stuff. I know, for those of you guys who are investing in this thing, you're like, oh, it's been so much of it the last couple weeks. But this is, I think, quite possibly the most interesting thing to happen with the markets since January 2021. And this is a micro cap that is in such a weird position to fundamentally change the entire landscape of investing in America. I mean, if Rosa gets her ruling and the judge grants her the stuff, and it costs a fortune, an absolute ridiculous fortune, for them to close these positions out to the point it puts hedge funds bankrupt, it puts the prime brokers in positions where they're running out of cash, it puts the Fed and the Treasury on notice that, holy shit, we may have to like actually do quantitative easing during a recession. Oh shit! While we've got inflation, that it could be something that gets cited. You know, there may be court cases 100 years from now that cite, Tawil v. FINRA for rulings from judges, and it could fundamentally change how Congress views trading. They could just be like, oh crap, we got to pass laws to make sure this never happens again. Because, yeah. Latinum, she keeps missing the fact that FINRA is a self-regulating agency. They're immune to discovery. No, they're not immune to discovery. They're immune to Freedom of Information Act requests. You don't have to do a Freedom of Information. You can't do a Freedom of Information Act to get information from them. But if you're suing them in discovery, you can subpoena evidence from them via interrogatories and other things. And due to the fact that they've been granted permissions from Congress to do the regulations, puts them in this like quasi-governmental realm, where they have to follow the laws. And if they aren't following the laws, then the court is going to go, yep, you're in the wrong. The law says this, you did that, can't do that. Those federal judges will be very particular about that. So she knows what she's doing. She's a very smart gal, and has absorbed just boatloads of information, and I think she's doing it in a very, very smart way. So we just got to hope that that judge is as awesome as we hope he is. So, yeah. Dog, monkey never sleeps. You don't never sleep, do you? No. He's a champion. He's a little champion dog. You never sleep ever. You just sit there and give me side eye all day long. Okay, got the shirt name in there. People giving high fives to Rosa. Um, bum, bum. Any insight on Rosa's tweet 2 hours ago? What did she tweet 2 hours ago? I was on the phone. Oops, I gotta go Twitter first. It's nice to be able to like use my Twitter on my computer again and not have my entire account deleted because I did that. It's great. No, type there. I don't see one from 2 hours ago. I see one. Oh, I guess you did type this out to me an hour ago. So there, the one 3 hours ago. She says, Judge H, the judicial system cannot sit idly by as monopoly robs citizens of property and utilizes trust practices to deny market value over those properties. So to be denied property, there is due process. So that process can be a process of the market where you sell, you agree upon terms, things like that. Or if the government takes it from you, they have to give you due process, the eminent domain, whatever. Like there has to be a process in place that is just to deprive you of property. And right now, we bought property. We bought ownership in Nextbridge, right? And the actions of the broker dealers and the hedge funds and the market makers are essentially denying us that property without due process. So in the past, this judge has ruled that denying someone a right without that due process, without justified process, is wrong, and he's set precedent that way. So she is comparing this person who under you guys can't see the tweet because I'm an idiot and I forgot to put it on there. This person from 2019 talking about the state of Florida can't deny an individual the right to vote just because the plaintiff lacks the financial resources to pay whatever financial obligations, blah blah blah. That you can't deny them the rights to that property without a just process. And in our case, we're being denied the rights to our property and not being compensated for it.